Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into this, this is review number 69. As such, it requires special attention. 69, dudes! Hi there, everyone. My name is Christian Eschbach, and in this episode, we're going to be taking just a jump to the left, and then a step to the right. And you put your hands on your hips, and you bring your knees in tight. And it's the pelvic thrust that really drives you insane. Let's do the time warp again. The Rocky Horror Picture Show soundtrack, baby. This is the movie soundtrack. The official 100% from the movie soundtrack. This is one of my all-time absolute favorite movies. Probably one of the greatest musicals of all time as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there's a couple other ones I like that are enjoyable, but they're not the Rocky Horror Picture Show, baby. Oh my God. All right. I'm sorry, but this movie is the reason why Tim Curry is like one of my all-time heroes. That dude has a voice. You know, and I had no issues buying this soundtrack because I do love the music outside of the movie, you know, on its own separate tracks. I own this all on karaoke. I have DJ'd karaoke, which is from time to time why you hear me say how much I've sung certain songs on karaoke. I've DJ'd karaoke. As such, I've bought a lot of discs on my own outside now that I don't DJ karaoke. If I go to karaoke places on my own, there is one track in here I always perform live. People can't wait for me to sing this song live when they go out and I do this one because I just get into it. You know, this is the Rocky Horror Picture Show, baby. So, the movie opens up with science fiction double feature. Such a sweet little ditty. It's so pretty, and, you know, everybody knows the legendary mouth singing at the beginning of the movie. And that's science fiction, and it is a great song. It sets the tone for the whole entire movie and everything that's about to come. It lets you know how crazy, wild, and zany it's going to get. It really has great foreshadowing in it, and it really sets the mood for absolutely everything. Now, we have to tell the story, and, you know, we have to introduce our characters. So what better way to introduce our characters than the song Dammit, Janet, where, you know, we're just after a wedding, and everybody's all wrapped up in those emotions, and Brad wants to marry Janet, and, you know, all that other fun stuff, and, oh, Brad, and then, Janet, I love you. Okay, so, now we're going, all right, okay. So what happens? The car breaks down, and now we have to go find somewhere for cover. And where do we go for cover? Over at the Frankenstein place. Now, I have to say that as much as I will always be the first person to be cast as Frankenfurter and to love playing the role of Frankenfurter because, god damn it, I love singing Tim Curry songs. Oh, I love singing as Tim Curry. It is so much fun. Just because I can hit the range makes a huge difference. But over at the Frankenstein place is Riffraff coming out and singing for the first time. And it's Riffraff's part, his little solo, where he's up alone in the tower by himself, dreaming and fantasizing. But how he wants the sun of life to come streaming into his life. Oh, the drugs. Now, we all know the time warp. If you are watching this video, chances are you have heard the time warp. Is there any reason for me to cover it more than what I've already done in the beginning of this? Other than to teach you all how to do the time warp. There's no point. There really isn't. And let me tell you, everybody does the time warp wrong. Everybody does. Because if you do the time warp properly, you're not supposed to repeat the same 3 sets of moves during the choruses. There are slight variations at the end. It is what it is. Now we get on to the song I have sung more than any other song, not only on this soundtrack, that I think a lot of other songs I've ever performed in karaoke. Sweet Transvestite. I love every part of the song, man. This song screams, even without the lyrics, this song just musically screams sex. Every part of sex. Just that. How do you do? See you met my faithful hand in that. And the sax in here and everything else. Oh, man. I just love this song. Absolutely adore it. And I have performed this baby in full drag, man. Oh, yeah. I have gone out there wearing a nice little coat, or wearing one of my long coats, and get to the big, giant, kick-in, heavy reveal part. Drop the coat, and there I am in full drag for everybody to laugh their asses off at, man. Yes, so empowering. I am dead serious. This is not a joke. I have actually done this. Alright, okay, after that, we go into I Can Make You a Man. Now, in the modern context, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, cancel culture, motherfuckers, stay away from my goddamn Rocky Horror Picture Show. I know why you'll fucking come after, but you stay the fuck away from it. I Can Make You a Man is one of those songs. It is a great, super fun song. You know, the whole set of lyrics being about exercising, working out, this, that, and the other thing. When the reality is, it's all giant innuendo for Dr. Frankenfurter making Rocky into his man. Politically incorrect by today's standards, but it's still fucking hilarious and great. And that is interrupted halfway through by Hot Patootie. That is Hot Patootie featuring Meatloaf. That's right, Bat Out of Hell fame Meatloaf, Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, gets in here and rocks it out huge. I don't know how they got him. Probably because he wasn't quite that huge name yet. Maybe. I don't know how they got any of the actors they got in this movie. I mean, really, when you think about it, Susan Sarandon. Now, she still wasn't much of a name at this time. Very small of a name. Barry Bostwick, same situation. He was still a very small name at this time. But still, you know, like this guy who's gone on to do some major stuff as well. I mean, and then you've got Tim Curry, man. Tim Curry. And you throw Meatloaf on top of that. Like, you really have quite the ensemble on this. And it's amazing. But Hot Patootie, bless my soul, I love this because, you know, in the middle of this whole entire gay mantra of seduction, you get this song that all of a sudden cuts in where it's this guy just going nuts, rocking it out, baby, you know, and talking about how much he loves Patootie. And that ends up with, you know, Frank showing that he's really bad at picking his friends in the movie. You'll get that joke. And if not, you can ask me a question. Okay, sorry, I'm done with the cheesiness for now. Then we get into I Can Make You a Man reprise. Finishes off where it started. Now, after that, we move on to Touch Me. This is Janet getting her big song, singing about how she wants Rocky to basically make her a woman because no one has made her a woman yet. So she wants someone to touch her. Then you go on to Eddie. Eddie is the character of Columbia, singing about what happened to Eddie and whatnot. This is basically to introduce Dr. Scott, who is there because he's looking for Eddie, and he's been hearing about all these weird things going on. And at the same time, this is the same Dr. Scott that Brad and Janet were going to go visit on their way when the car broke down, and they ended up at the Dr. Frankenfurter castle. Everything's connected. It's all a giant conspiracy. Okay, so after that we move on to Rose Tint My World, which is broken down into a few parts. This is the big dance number at the end where, you know, Frankenfurter's talking about how he just wanted to have some fun and have this great, wonderful life and whatnot. And, you know, everybody gets out there dancing. This is the number where everybody's like in the full bustier corsets, fetish-ish dress, drag, get up, whatever. Hilarious. It really is. And that's broken into a few parts. You got the floor show, which is the part that I was just talking about. Everybody out there singing and dancing, setting it up, talking about how interesting life has become since Frankenfurter joined them. And then you go into Fanfare, Don't Dream It. That's when, if you've seen the movie, they go into the pool and they're swimming around in the pool and whatnot. And then C is Wild and Untamed Thing. Frank talking about how he's a wild and untamed thing. And it totally makes sense, right? It's Frankenfurter, you know, he's a wild and untamed thing. Who could doubt that? Now, well, I didn't mention one of the songs that was left out that I've gone past already where it would fall in the movie at this point. Sword of Damocles is left off of this soundtrack. I'm not entirely sure why, other than maybe they didn't want to make it a double disc and no one really sings Sword of Damocles other than Rocky. And it doesn't make a huge difference in the way that this is portrayed. You could leave that one out. What they did do, though, is they added a song back in that was cut from the movie. The song Superheroes. It's played a little bit in the movie, but for the most part, it actually gets cut really hard. To the point where it's basically left out. Here, it's in its full entirety. Then you go on to Science Fiction Double Feature Reprise, which is them recapping basically the entire movie and everything that happened, using the same music that was used in the beginning when they set everything up. It bookends it beautifully. You know, you got the beginning, you got the end, nice, beautiful bookend. Now, I mentioned the Sword of Damocles thing earlier. Now, as much as I want to say it's a time length issue that they took it out, it really can't be. And the reason why is they put 2 bonus tracks on here. They put in the Time Warp remix, the 89 extended version. That's not a big deal. It's, you know, it was a remix done for like doing parties or stuff like that. Yeah. And then they did the back-end track, so you could use it as a karaoke track on your own if you know all the cues and you know all the times and you know all the words and you come in and sing it all yourself. I really wish they would have put Sword of Damocles back in here instead. There's even a possibility that they opted not to put Sword of Damocles on here because Peter Hinwood, who plays Rocky, absolutely loathes any connection to this movie. I'm not even sure if he's still alive at this point. But he had a nice little antique shop in the town that he lived in or whatever. And if anybody went in there and asked him about the Rocky Horror Picture Show, he'd basically tell them to fuck off and get out of the store, from the way stories and legends go. So how true that is, I'm not sure. But that is the Rocky Horror Picture Show soundtrack disc that I picked up. And as you can see, big lion here. This has been well used, well loved. I bought this in high school. And I've loved it every moment since. I wish there was more to it. That, fall apart. The jacket's nothing inside. It's basically a piece of paper. And you got these pretty little pin on the back, but that's it. I really wish they would have done more with the packaging for it, or maybe, now they'll do a reissue and they'll do a better job with the packaging. Who knows? I think part of this was done to kind of more imitate the stage show album packaging. And I've heard the various stage shows, and those are really cool too. Also unique and different in their own ways compared to the movie. But if you are a fan of the movie, find the disc. It's worth having. I immensely enjoy it. Any real Rocky Horror fan should have this. Anyways, leave your comments. Let me know what you think. If you hated the Rocky Horror Picture Show, feel free to tell me you hated the Rocky Horror Picture Show. If you want to make horrible, disgusting comments about horrible, sick people in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, if you want to say anything degrading or crude or inappropriate against any type of interest group one way or the other, except for cancel culture, feel free to make fun of cancel culture all you want. Any other group is off limits. We do not accept that because this is the Rocky Horror Picture Show, man. It's about accepting everybody, no matter how weird. New laugh, new experiences. Anyways, yeah. Leave me your comments. Hit subscribe to get notifications when new videos come out. Otherwise, peace, love, and take care.